Yes everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Crockett, and in today's video we're going to be talking about something that I've read up is quite an issue for some people, and I kind of just want to give my opinion, and obviously I want to hear yours guys' opinions down below in the comments as well. So before we jump straight into this video guys, please smash that like and subscribe button. Any support towards this channel just goes a long way, and again just encourages me to keep making these videos. So the topic that I want to talk about isn't anything major, isn't anything groundbreaking and would cause me not to keep playing Battlefield 6, but it's definitely something that I keep hearing and I keep seeing pop up within content creators channels and streamers and just people all over online. So the topic is bloom within guns on this game. Now I just want to throw out my opinion. I do not have an issue regarding the bloom on certain weapons, especially the ones that I'm hearing about the most, the ARs and the carbines. You know, a lot of people aren't excited or really happy with the way those guns are suffering with a lot of bloom in gunfights, especially against SMGs. Now, what I like about Battlefield 6 is I think every map offers you a different kind of weapon to approach every single game. Whether you're playing a different game mode or you're playing a different map, every single map offers a different type of weapon the game kind of forces you to use. So there's certain maps where you need that long range weapon like an AR and a carbine, and then you have them maps that kind of recommend you, especially close quarter combats, that recommend you to use that SMG. When I actually hear a lot of people that are having issues regarding bloom, and I watch gameplay, or they kind of just don't explain that answer a bit more. Now, if you lose a gunfight and you're blaming it on the bloom, you know, that's a valuable reason until you then give an example of why. So if you're playing a close quarter combat map and someone's quite at a close range against you and you're losing a gunfight, you might be aiming down sights and you're losing a gunfight towards someone with an SMG, and it might even be at a mid-range, right? Depending on how that map is kind of laid out and how you should kind of play that map, you can kind of expect common occurrences of losing gunfights with an SMG. Now, obviously, there's going to be them maps and certain type of moments in games where an AR and a carbine should definitely win the gunfight. But obviously, we do know that by holding down your trigger in order to shoot that weapon, eventually the later bullets that come out of the magazine will have a far more bloom effect on it. And I didn't realise this until quite a long while playing the game, because I was losing a lot of gunfights. Just like everybody else, I was losing a lot of gunfights, close, medium and long range. And I'm thinking, I feel like my bullets should be hitting. I'm literally aimed on this character. I can see the pin above his head. Like, why are these bullets not landed on this character? Then obviously later down the line I then found out that there's a big, massive bloom effect. Now, a few people have pointed out that maybe it could be a glitch in itself, or kind of like a bug in the game where the bloom shouldn't be this strong. And when you kind of think about it in realistic ways, Battlefield's a lot more realistic to COD. So someone like me and someone like other people who play Call of Duty majority of their life, when they head over to Battlefield, it's a different form of realism regarding gunfights. And we all know, especially people who play Battlefield for a long, long time, that Battlefield follows that route of realistic gunfights and realistic warfare a lot more than Call of Duty. Not to a 100% degree, but definitely a lot more than Call of Duty does. Now, I understand, in my opinion, why bloom counters in real life and within the game, because if you're using a much more, what's the best way to describe it, like a heavier bullet or a larger bullet, the type of recoil and impact that's coming out of the end of the barrel of that gun is going to be a lot more dramatic than what it will be regarding an SMG or a pistol. For me, it kind of makes sense as to why, like, these ARs and these carbines have quite an extreme bloom effect, especially when firing in for a long term. And I guess the only way you can kind of counter this, and it took me a while to counter it, is just by trigger tapping. I mean, if you trigger tapping in a long range gunfight, you're going to prevent that bloom from being as dramatic as what it is if you just hold down that trigger. But I can imagine in real life situations that might be the same. Obviously, I'm not no fucking war expert. I've never actually shot a gun in real life, so I wouldn't be able to answer that question fully. I kind of like the aspect of how blooms affect certain weapons within this game. Now, I do think there's definitely, in my opinion, I think there is some form of issue regarding like the hit damage and the hitbox within players at times. I've seen it with snipers especially, and I'm not talking about the sort of damage when you get below head height. I'm talking about, like, for sometimes with me, it might just genuinely be my connection. I don't know, but when I've previously used a sniper, it feels for me that I'm locked on a head. And I'm not talking about bullet drop as well. I'm talking about a close range encounter with a sniper. I'm aimed on the head, and for some reason that hitbox is telling me that I'm not getting the right accurate shot on him, and I'm not receiving as much damage as I thought, even though we all know that anything above a shoulder height is a one-shot kill. But that's nothing for me to really quit the game or kind of throw up a fuss about it, because I don't really use snipers anyway. All my time through Call of Duty, I've always used regular guns, or what we call them red guns. But yeah, I just wanted to hear what people's verdicts were. Is it ruining the game for you? Does it annoy you that much? Because for me personally, like I've mentioned before, I enjoy it. I like the real aspect of what Battlefield offers within its games and within all of its game modes. And I think a big reason and a big option you can do to prevent such bloom on certain types of gunfights is just use the correct gun for how that map's trying to play it out. And some people might disagree with me with that, but the way I see COD, so I'll give you an example. When I used to play COD, especially Black Ops 6, you could run around with an SMG on every single fucking match. You could run around with a certain AR on every single map. You could use Shipment. I remember when Shipment was out on Modern Warfare, and you could run around with a fucking LMG on a tiny, tiny map and absolutely fucking milk the prostates of a fucking, like, SMG player. Like, you could literally milk the fuck out of them every single time. And for such a small, close quarter combat map, that shouldn't really be the case. But, you know, it is the way it is. But I think Battlefield offers a change to that. I think they really try and drive on this certain map. You should be using an AR rather than this map for these long-range gunfights, and the way people can sit within this map, you should be using an LMG or maybe an SMG, because obviously the game's pace is a lot slower on Battlefield, and I particularly really like that. But yes, guys, please let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Is it ruining the game for you? Do you want it to get buffed? Do you want it to get nerfed? It's always, everyone's on different sides of the fence. So please, guys, let me know down below, and I will see you all in the next one.